Yo,
Yo,
what's going on, y'all? Or am I the only one in here? Let's give it some time to let some people in, let some people join in. Yo, what up, bro? Yeah, old Mill. Tuck went from coming to Tuck is going in more than one way. Tuck is going in more than one way. Yo, what up, Malachi? What up, big brother? What up, Antoine? Let's see. That last drive before the half, why we running three straight plays? I think they're still trying to establish that run. They're trying to. I think they're still trying to establish that they can do what they want to do. You know, Michigan is a we're gonna run it. Oh, you know we're gonna run it? Good, because we're gonna run it. You can't stop us. You know that's what how they want to be. I'm over here sipping tea. I got a sinus infection. I believe it just came down that Tuck got fired. I believe that just came down. We just want a 100% accurate prediction of the Penn State game. I'm not quite so sure, sir. You want an accurate prediction of the Penn State game? Okay. The Penn State, Michigan versus Penn State, which is at Penn State, it's going to be a close game, honestly. From the outside looking in right now, Penn State looks very good. Michigan looks very good. You know, Alar, he looks like he could be a stud. You know what I'm saying? So both got good defenses, but it's going to come down to how does Alar look in those big time moments? He hasn't been in them yet. Playing West Virginia, that ain't no big time moment. We talking big time, Big Ten football, 100,000 going against Michigan, going against Ohio State. The Big Ten championship is basically on the line in those games. Let me see how you look. You know what I'm saying? So right now, it looks like it's going to be a pick'em game, honestly. I mean, of course, I expect to win. I'm a Michigan fan, but it's a pick'em right now. Penn State looks good. No cap. You talking about Devin? I'm not worried about well, I always worry about a mobile quarterback, but it looks like it's Kyle McCord. That it's just one less thing to worry about. I don't want to have to worry about a dude that can scramble. I don't want to have to worry about it at all. Like CJ, like with CJ Stroud, we didn't have to worry about it because even though he was mobile, he just wouldn't do it. So I want somebody back there that it's not a threat. So I ain't got to worry about him doing something magical all of a sudden. And you know what I'm saying? He ain't been running, but he can, and now he does. And now he's making your defensive line look stupid. Like, where did this come from? You know what I'm saying? I don't want to have to worry about that at all. Let's see. Big Brother says we will see what Penn State does against Ohio before we play them. That's a fact. They might destroy Ohio State. they might give them a whooping, honestly. But I guess we'll find out what Ohio State has when they play Notre Dame in a couple weeks. Larry Ball says, who do you think will step up as our third wideout after Roman and Cornelius? I'm hoping it's Clement or Morris. I believe it's Tyler Morris. I believe it's Morris. Him and JJ went to school together. That's why you saw him come back yesterday and was clicking right as soon as he got back in there. So they said he was going to be the third receiver all along. It's just he's been dinged up like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? So Daniel Tavera says, you know what's crazy? If we lose to both Penn State and Ohio State, then it will feel like 2017, not beating a single team with a winning record with the 10 wins being against teams with losing records. Yeah, that's a possibility. It's a possibility. I don't plan on losing to them, but it's a possibility. Let's see. Just jumped in to say bye-bye, Tuck, baby. Tuck was coming all right over the phone. Whoa. Yeah, so the team. I think we're all still trying to wait and see how that offensive line gels, how Blake and Donovan will do further along in the season. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't bother me, honestly, as long as my quarterback that's my quarterback. As long as my quarterback out there shredding teams, it don't bother me that Donovan and Blake ain't eating. You know what I'm saying? It's like let me give an example. It's like Texas yesterday. They ain't have no great running game beating Bama. They slinging that rock. I got your running game right here. Bombs away. I got your great running game. Yeah, I mean, they still light in the trenches, but the game still has to be played. You know what I'm saying? So when I speak on this stuff, I don't like to speak in absolute because nothing is absolute. It's football. You get what I'm saying? So you never know what might happen. We could play a game like TCU, where for some reason we couldn't get a pass rush, or we're making bonehead mistakes. You know what I'm saying? Like, these things can happen where you're better than that team, but you lose. So that's why I don't just say, oh, it's guaranteed we're going to – anything can happen. But what I was saying with I'd rather have to beat a good or great team, I'd rather have my quarterback than the run game. The greatest example was last night. Quinn Ewers lighting up Alabama, lighting them up. Yeah, we ain't running it consistently. My quarterback gonna shred you consistently. How about that? Let's see what they stats was. Where you at? Yeah, okay. Quinn Ewers, 24 38, 349, 3 TDs. Running the ball, 14, Jay Brooks, 14 carries, 57 yards a TD, 4.1 yards a carry. Baxter, 11 carries, 31 yards. Then Quinn Ewers had 11 yards on 3 carries. Then you had 6, 5, 5, 3. So Texas ran for 105 yards. I mean, neither one of those teams could ran. Alabama only had 100 rushing yards, but it don't matter when you got a quarterback that can shred and get you 350 without any picks. All you gotta do is get a few good runs here and there. When that quarterback out there shred man, and it don't matter. You can beat teams because it's easier. And honestly, it's easier to stop a good running game than a good quarterback, a good pass game. That's how I feel. Don't let him be great. You probably ain't got a chance. So I'm about to bring Marcus up here, get his thoughts. You know, hey, I let him introduce himself.
What's going on, Jo?
What's up, bro?
Appreciate you having me on, man. I apologize to you and the audience for the delay.
Oh, no problem, no problem.
Sure.
Life happens.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What we talking about though? Where we at?
I was just really ranting about what they were talking about in the comments. Just give me your take on how the season is going. What are you seeing from the team? Blake, JJ, the O line.
Okay. Yeah, early on, it gets a little bit difficult to get a clear answer on a lot of things in these games, right? Because obviously it's out of conference opponents, and in these out of conference opponents, a little bit lighter than what you'd be looking as a test. But the things that are clear that I think translate to any level of competition. Number one, obviously with JJ, right, looks much more polished. Footwork looks good. He's throwing with anticipation now. There's a lot of the things I've been hearing floating around when we're discussing him in the post games and things of that nature. Completion percentage up around 90%. I mean, he's eating, right? And so he's shown a progression, a level up, if you will, for lack thereof a better term, that I think not only bodes well for, obviously the team, right? JJ being our leader, taking a step like that, but future, right? Down the road, him taking a leap like that is going to mean all the world to a guy like Bryce Underwood, right? Even to a guy like Jaden Davis, right? Like to have that understanding of, all right, that's the bar. That's where we at with it, right? Offensive line, hit or miss. I thought that we would see more tackles this game, right? We got to see Barnhart and we got to see Hinton run most of the game with Trente coming in with a lot of those bonus packages, those heavy packages. But I thought straight up we were going to see Trente and Ladarius get their run at it this go round, which, in all honesty, the way I see it athletically, that's your ceiling right there. Those are your two highest ceilings is Ladarius
Didn't Trente start some games last year?
Trente did. He started most of the time. So Barnhart started the season. He gets hurt. Trente comes in, starts a couple of games. He gets hurt. They go back to Barnhart.
Gotcha.
Kind of the way it shakes out to me is that I think athletically, again, Trente's a little bigger. He can do a little bit more. You can pull him a little bit more often. That's why he gets put in on those bonus packages because he's an elite run blocker for sure. I think, hey, yo, that's funny. That I seen that right before I clicked on. I'm like, damn, man, because we talked about it on the pod, but I'm sure we'll get there at some point. But yeah, he's a better run blocker. He's more athletic. Barnhart is just more steady. He doesn't make any mistakes. He doesn't miss assignments. He doesn't block air when he doesn't have anybody to block. He go find somebody to block.
I hate that blocking air stuff.
Yeah, Miles struggles with that a bit. He will kind of just like on duo. I seen him a couple of times. So when you're double teaming to whatever direction, right? That's the staple running back play that Michigan been running the last couple of years, right? So on those plays, you'll see Miles going with the flow of the play, but not really having a guy. And so instead of like, okay, let me climb to the linebacker, or let me peel back and see if anybody pursuing so I can stop that, or let me double team down. No, man, a couple times Miles fell over. Couple times, Miles just looking around, headed upfield, not
I
really.
saw him looking around and then looking like a lost puppy or a lost kid at
Like
the mall.
I'm like, if you don't find somebody close to hit, man.
I don't see what's hard about that. Like, bro,
But
go
but a lot
find
of things,
somebody.
it's a basic concept, right? But a lot of the things that Michigan does on a regular basis are not being done regularly around the country. Ain't nobody running ISO 12 plays a game. Ain't nobody running duo 10 to 12 plays a game except for Michigan. So I don't think he was really used to doing things like that at Stanford. And so it's showing. What's surprising to me is that he got the first go at it. He got the first try at right tackle over Trente Jones. So whatever is happening at practice is not necessarily manifesting the same way we're seeing right now on the field, because I couldn't imagine why Miles is even getting, not that he shouldn't have another opportunity, but we got other guys that we need to get a look at, right? I didn't see Ladarius Henderson until the fourth quarter. I didn't see Trente Jones outside of that bonus package until the fourth quarter. So it's like, you're not going to get a clear look unless they get equal snaps.
Exactly, and we need to figure that out. Definitely, definitely.
Running backs. I know that's been a lightning rod topic the first couple of weeks. I keep having to remind myself that both Blake and Donovan both had offseason surgery, right? That combined with the fact that they've been doing a lot of what they call thud now in camp, right?
What's
so they
that?
hit a little. So they hit a little bit of spring. They actually tackled. Coming up in training camp, a lot of the injured guys were doing thud. So they would make contact, but nobody's wrapping up, following through, taking you to the ground.
Got you.
So if I'm to believe those reports, I'm thinking this is like one of the Miles of the higher ceiling is a good matchup for OSU's D line. If you say so, I mean, he's adequate in passing downs. I will say that he's very adequate in passing downs. He just leaves a little bit to be desired in the running block.
Yeah, it's just the bread and butter.
But if they're not taking full on contact all the way through camp, they're getting that contact now. They're getting that contact now in these early games. I want to give them some time to get lathered up and get going, especially because I think both guys have different problems. See, Blake is just trying to get that last little tackle broken. He's trying to get that last little step back so that he can take off for 50 instead of 20, right? It feels like with Donovan, we're still trying to get him to fall in love with the boring yards, right? Yeah. The ugly stuff. We're still trying to convince him the more you stick your nose in there and get 3 to 5, the more opportunity you're going to have to bounce out and go get 30 and go get 80, you know?
And he seems like he's getting anxious now.
Yeah.
He seems, because last year, and I always tell people this, you have to be patient with our running game. It's not a just run to the line as fast as you can run style. You have to be patient, let the hole open up, maybe even do a stutter step or a little pigeon step, whatever, and then it opens like the Red Sea.
Yeah.
And in the last year, he figured that out. But now it's like he's back. Just running his head in there almost.
Yeah, you mentioned it, and I've heard some other people, talk about this as well. Donovan did a lot of this in the offseason. He did a lot of that. So he has a lot to back up, and he's getting, I wouldn't say less of an opportunity, but he's being asked to be more efficient. Right? It ain't all them days of us just putting the ball in your stomach for 20 times a game. That might be done, and you know what I mean? Because JJ's on a heater. So we're gonna ride that for a little bit. But he's not gonna have as many opportunities not to make the right play. And I feel like that's probably gonna be a little bit of an adjustment for him as well. On top of him taking the contact for the first time in the season, just like Blake. So if we can get 179 with guys still working in the form, okay, that's a problem I'd like to have. As opposed to last year having questions that weren't answered until the last game against Ohio State, until we get down versus TCU, and now we got to throw the ball. I don't feel like this is putting us in that same type of position or situation.
Got you. What do you think about the defense so far?
Man, I love the defense. I love the defense. And I felt like the question marks that we had coming into the season, we haven't said much about in the last 2 weeks, have we? Everybody was worried about the second corner. Oh, what are we gonna do at that second corner? Will Johnson didn't even play. Will Johnson hasn't even played a down, or he played a couple of downs in this
He
last
played
game.
a couple, but
He
not
played
a
a
lot.
couple. And have we had any problems really with the corners? Maybe a couple missed tackles here and there with the backups, but when the starters are in, when Josh Wallace is in, Keyshawn Harris, a walk on, playing lights out, playing
Mm-hmm.
very good. I think once they get Will back and they have the safeties back as well, they get Rob Moore back, Makari Page is back. Um, Quentin Johnson left a little bit to be desired. I feel like he seemed like
He
I
don't
think I
trust
heard
this
you
guy,
mention
bro.
this. He's one of those guys that's always in position to make a play and then get the yips. He'll be
Mm-hmm.
there and then just don't complete the play.
And that's why he's on the field, because in practice he probably makes it.
Yeah,
In the game, he probably starts thinking and stuff.
thinking too
Like,
much.
bro, you've done the job. Just make the tackle now. Like,
Yeah,
bro.
which I don't even that even saying he may have a little bit of issue there. That's not saying much because if Zeke Berry, Makari Page, and Rob Moore are healthy, he's probably not even seeing the field. So
I need them to be healthy. I don't need to see him no more, bro. I swear, I don't need to see dude no more.
yeah, I mean, if the guys are healthy, I mean, even with Keon Sabb, it's like we're in a very down bad position if we got to get all the way down to Quentin Johnson. So that's not too big of an issue for me. The bigger issue for me is our backup front seven. They get very susceptible when they get subbed in the game.
Yeah,
You
they do.
know, I've been expecting this to hear names like Braden McGregor. I'm not sorry, not Braden McGregor. Rashawn Benny in the inside. Like I've been
Mm-hmm.
looking for him. I want to see him. Want to see what he's doing. Um, Maybe some of the younger D linemen that we've been bringing in over the couple of years. I seen Roderick Pierce out there. Um, but it seems like once the starting front seven comes out of the game in the last 2 weeks, things get a lot easier.
Oh yeah.
Things get a
Once
lot easier. Not necessarily throwing the ball either. I mean, running the rock. So
mm-hmm.
that would be a point of focus to me too. You mentioned where they maybe get the backup quarterbacks in earlier against Bowling Green. I would get some more work for those backup linebackers, Micah Pollard, Jimmy Rolder, man, Jaden Hood. Get those guys in there. Get them some time. Rayshawn Benny, Cam Good. Get them in there. Because we're going to need that. We're going to
what's
need that depth for sure.
what's kind of wild is, and I think part of the problem is a lot of those like Rashawn and Cam, those dudes play a lot during the first 2-3 quarters.
Yeah.
So when they out there with the backups, they probably like, man, what am I doing out
But
here?
see, that's the time that you have to. That's when you got to shine, right?
Like,
When
what
you
am
are
I
out
doing
there
out
and you think you are a starter caliber guy, you may be a young guy, maybe you a sophomore, you a red shirt, getting your first opportunity. That's when you got to set yourself apart. Don't perform with the starters and then be put into a starter-esque role with the second team and diminish and fall back.
Hold up. Hey, I see you, Bilal. Hey, I've been going on Ohio State lives and all their stuff because they be like, "What you doing in here?" I just put the eyes like I'm watching.
Just watching.
Bilal see me.
Oh, I know they're going crazy. I know they're going crazy over here in Columbus. Gotta be.
What do you think about what's going on with Ohio State?
Well, so I think obviously they're still loaded offensively. I think you'd have to be a little bit silly to count them out completely. But the one thing that I can tell for sure has not changed on either side of the ball is that interior play.
Mm-hmm.
Stopping the ball through the middle, running the ball through the middle, running in short down and short yardage, and stopping the run in short yardage. Now, for somebody who's been called soft, for a team that has been said that you can't do this and can't do that, and man, Michigan gonna do this to y'all. That should be the focus, right? Like that should be the thing that seems the most different year over the year if the things that were being said about Ohio State were being said. And it ain't really. The defense has played better overall. they've played better overall. They haven't given up a whole bunch of points to Youngstown or to Indiana. Um, the offense is leaving a little bit to be desired, though. You know,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
think Travion is really having his best season. Trainum looks like the best running back they have right now. Wide
definitely.
receivers are still doing what they do for the most part, but it's the quarterback. They've always had a Heisman level guy running that show. And if
Hmm.
they don't, are they able to pitch it around enough and kind of share the rock to keep that level of offense being played? That's the question.
Exactly. And I think um, I think their defense still has to be seen what it is because I mean, to me, because that scheme, and I hate to bring this up, it's Don Brownish, so I bring it up. It is.
The more and more I hear the intricacies of it, right? The more and more you hear them going back and forth about this jack position, don't it sound kind of like the Viper? Like, don't get me
It's
wrong. I
it's
understand.
basically the
I
same.
understand the alignments are not the same and the things that they're trying to do. Like he uses his safeties a lot differently. Like they play coverage, but they not manned up every damn play. That that
True,
that
true.
that's different. But that jack position that it doesn't really have a home. One year it's a down D lineman. One year it's an athletic linebacker. Oh, but one year it could be a rangy safety type. We just don't know. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of what the Viper felt like. Like one year it was a
Exactly.
linebacker, another one it was a downhill safety and Khalid Hudson. Another, Mike Barrett came in recruited as a Viper. So
Hmm.
it's just I
So
don't know.
I'm anxious to see because the same way people it was fool's gold. Don Brown built up great numbers. I'm talking about he'll leave the starters in so he
Hmm.
can keep that great stats. Then all of a sudden we play Penn State.
And
KJ Hamler, maybe he may only get 2-3 touches, but they gonna be big ones.
well, that's why I'm not. I know people get mad at the giving up the goose, giving up the shutouts, and I'm mildly irritated when it actually happens. But it's nothing I would critique in the post of the game because I watched a guy like fight for those. Like that was a badge of honor for DB. He wanted that. He wanted the shutout. He wanted to be able to say at the end of the season, we had this many shutouts, right? We held this many teams under 100 yards. We held this many teams under 300 yards passing. Like that, those were badges. Those were marks for him. And I mean, it got him statistically some very impressive defenses. But then like you said, you get to a Penn State, you get to an Ohio State, you get to a Florida State, and they are gashing you like for long plays too. You ain't gave up this many yards all season in 12 games. You get to this one, and they running up and down the field on you, right?
Exactly.
Is
So,
that not what it feels like is happening right now with Ohio State?
and that's why I tried to warn them last year because Maryland did them like that. Penn State did them like that. JTT, he
Yeah,
had
he
a
played
great
out of his
game.
mind. He saved him that game.
That
Yeah,
was like his only good game, but he saved them. But they still went up and down the field on him. Still
yeah,
put
they
up a
did.
lot of stats with Sean Clifford and them boys.
They sure did.
We did them like that. Then Georgia did them like that. So the best offensive talent you played, they all lit you up.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm just waiting to see. I'm really waiting for that Notre Dame game.
yeah. That now see, that's an interesting matchup, right? Because Notre Dame is not only showing that they had a more efficient quarterback than they had last year, right? A little bit more talented as well. The running game is as good, if not a little bit better than what it was last year. They got two backs now. If Estime can hold on to the ball, they playing defense well. Ohio
Mhm.
State running the ball has been so depending on who's carrying it back there, and they're shaky at quarterback. Well, not okay. Let me put this in the right context, right? Because if I'm being honest, if most teams had a quarterback who went out for 280 in week one and 254 in week two, multiple touchdowns, only one interception, you count that as a dub. Most teams would be happy with that. The problem is that Ohio State's offense, most of the time, most years, is predicated on high production from that position. And so
Mm-hmm.
if he's not producing at an effective level and an efficient level, the yardage is not really going to matter all that much. He has to be efficient. He has to be able to get the ball out there to Egbuka and Marvin Harrison, and they got to protect him. I have never heard, I was talking to Josh about this today. I've never heard national media talk directly about an offensive lineman negatively as much as I've heard them talk about Josh Simmons in the last 2 weeks. Like, I swear to God, I've never heard them mention an offensive lineman that much about something negative. They're like, yeah, man, he's really not Ohio State caliber. I'm like, Jesus, it's kind of early for that.
They're
But
not used to it.
they
Nobody's
on his
used to
back.
seeing this.
Yeah, they on his back early. So it's a lot of pressure too. And going on the road to South Bend. And they only lost by 11 last year with the far worse quarterback.
They're Ohio State, and also everybody's used to seeing Ohio State just destroy teams. Like if you're not comp, it may be 24-10 at half, maybe, or 24-7. But by the end of the game, it's probably 55 to whatever you had. 10.
Hang around. And see, that's what I was kind of expecting with Youngstown State yesterday, right? So they get up about 28-7 late in the second quarter. So I'm like, all right, I can turn this off. Let me go see what Prime and Buffalo doing with Nebraska, right? And that game was a disaster. But went over there, took a peek, came back into the third. It's maybe like a minute left. They up 35-7. I'm like, y'all scored a touchdown? I scored one touchdown? Like, what happened here? So I'm not gonna claim to say that I've seen the entirety of it. But even when I just picked up there, I think they were driving, they were in the red zone, tried to go forward on fourth down, turnover on downs. All right. It's like they're not as deadly. They are not as potent as they once were. They have that potential. They haven't found it yet. And they need to find it quickly because Notre Dame ain't going to wait for them.
Notre Dame got some dudes out there, though. They always got some big dudes.
Big dudes. They got Jean-Pierre, the transfer out of Ohio State, the pass rusher.
Yeah.
So he gonna be right there standing over Josh Simmons in 2 weeks.
Notre Dame gonna have some dudes, so I can't wait. Honestly, I can't wait for that game because it ain't no pressure on my back, so I can just watch them hopefully lose and be happy.
I cannot imagine what this place is gonna look like. For context for everybody, I actually live in Columbus, but I can't imagine what this place gonna look like if they drop one to Josh Freeman.
They're gonna want Ryan Day's head.
It's gonna get hot. It's gonna get hot before they even get to Michigan or Penn State because right now the expectancy is to compete for the Big Ten East. If you losing to Notre Dame week 4, that means games against Wisconsin look a lot different. Games against Penn State look a lot different. I think they got Purdue this year. Like those games look a little different now. Ultimately, depending on where Notre Dame goes for the rest of the season. But I don't think anybody came into this picking Notre Dame to go to the college football playoff. If they beat Ohio State, they're absolutely a favorite to get one of those spots.
Definitely.
Because the only other game they have on the schedule, I think, is USC. A big time game would be USC.
I think they play North Carolina. My homeboy's a friend.
That's a game.
He's an alum. He's a North Carolina alum, even though they just escaped again. Lucky.
Yeah, see, I don't know if North Carolina going to be able to stop them.
I don't think they will.
I don't think they're going to be able to stop them. I'm not convinced. It looked like they got a defense versus South Carolina. Do that against another good team that's not South Carolina, and I'll be on you.
Do it against App State.
They were in a dogfight with App State.
Again, this year and last year, they found a way to escape in overtime.
Yeah. See, I was encouraged by the South Carolina performance, but then
that was surprising for me to see them get what? They had like 8-9 sacks.
Yeah. Yep. Ohio State not losing to Notre Dame. You better hope not.
She was talking about the offensive line. The offensive line just has to gel. You got your new players that haven't been in the system. That you have to give them the reps. Practice isn't the game. So you got your practice warriors they're great at practice, but then they get on the real field on Saturday and they just don't know how to execute.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's different. Speed's different. Guys are
Exactly.
competing to try and beat you as opposed to
Mhm.
trying to beat you to get better. When you working and you're doing the same drills repetitively over and over and over again, yeah, guys are going to be better than others and they're going to compete. But at the end of the day, we're competing together for a common goal. So there's some sort of, I'm not saying they holding back, but they ain't trying to go out and kill you. These
Mm-mm.
guys that you lining up with every Saturday, they want to run through you.
Yeah.
You know, they want you to be an example. They want you to be part of their highlight film. So going out there catching 5 balls in practice is all good. Go catch them in the game.
Yeah.
It's
And the
different.
teams in this run game, because that's I know whenever everybody's talking about the offensive line, it's run game. Teams are tired of seeing us run down their throat. Like
Sure.
they know it. Before we didn't have backs. We had okay backs, stat backs, Karan Higdon type. Now we got backs that are legit. Haskins to Blake to Donovan and Blake. So now you're putting up big numbers when you run that rock. You're not just, having good games. You're having
They're stacking the box. They have to, because
exactly.
if you play us straight up, we'll bleed you. We'll just bleed you.
Mhm.
If you play it straight up. If you don't play it straight up, you got to pick one. What you going to do? You going to take away the pass? You going to take away the run? You take away the pass? Okay, well, we'll just do what we do, and we'll just run the ball for 4 quarters. Take away the run? Cool. We've proven now we can go 80% and throw for 3 touchdowns. We can do that.
Mhm.
How do you want it? How do you want it?
The last thing I think that they need to get with JJ is I want to start seeing him when he notices it's loaded and they're in that zero coverage. I want to start seeing him checking to those go routes. Like you
Going
seeing
down.
it, Roman. I want to see that check with me. And I want to see that bomb. Ain't no point of us. You got zero cover, at least on these teams. You might as well
On the man, when they're going man, I agree. Take the shots. Take the
take that
shot.
shot
And
because we haven't taken
they've
any.
done it to a certain degree. A lot of crossers, a lot of post stuff, nothing deep outside. I don't know if they have like
Roman
big
fast
bully
enough.
ball receivers.
I
Right?
think
Like
Roman can just run past dudes though.
maybe he could. I'm sure he will at some point this season. I'm talking about those big jump ball outside on the sideline type throws. We don't really have them wideouts. We don't
I,
really have those type
I don't
of
see
guys.
why Cornelius isn't that dude. He's
Now,
like 6'3".
yeah, but Cornelius ain't fighting the ball out the air from people. Cornelius got to catch the ball in stride, and then he's a dangerous wide receiver. But Cornelius he's not Kenyon Coleman in people.
2 years ago at Nebraska, or no, 2 years ago at Wisconsin, he had that. He did it.
Yeah, but he caught that one like this. He caught that one over his shoulder. You know what? I used to really get on Cornelius Johnson, right? Because he'd been here for a long time. And the mistakes that you would see out of Cornelius Johnson, you were seeing them same mistakes out of Andrell Anthony. So I'm like, hey, fam, if this is what we getting out of you, put Andrell in and just let him get the snaps. Just let him get the snaps. The performance may not be no better, but at least I'm going to know that he's actively getting better and not staying in the same spot. I was so mad at him because he would have a couple of drops every game. He'll stop running on routes. And I'm like, the only thing you out there to do is block. And then here come Ohio State. And
Man.
boy, did he come alive. He came alive. I was like, man, you was about to have me questioning Bellamy's job last year. So thank God you came. Thank God you came through in that game, man, because we was gonna start asking some questions. It might not have been Helu who got let go last year.
He came out of nowhere with that game. I was with big discussions, and we was talking about that. Like, I don't think anybody expected just one player, even though Roman was open on some of those plays. But the way Cornelius, and I don't think he gets enough credit for that out route. That wasn't an easy.
The one he hit on Cam Brown?
The first one.
The first one? Yeah.
That
so
wasn't
like
an easy
they
catch.
keep calling it just a little out route. I'm like, okay, first of all, they threw a 10-yard hitch, right? 9 times out of 10, that play gets stopped right where the ball is getting caught, or the wide receiver tiptoes out of bounds. He catches the ball. JJ throws it under duress. He got a defender right on his hip. Now, he ain't close enough to make the play, obviously, but he's definitely close enough to make the tackle.
Definitely.
Right? Spins out of that. Then proceeds, because here comes Jack Sawyer speeding up right here from his peripheral. He goes from 0 to 100, runs away from him 6. And the rest of the defense, I guess, if they were following him at that point, I don't know, maybe not. I only seen a couple players. But that was an impressive play. And then the next one, he puts Cam Martinez in a damn, not Cam Martinez. Or is that his name? The safety for Ohio State? Was it Martinez?
I believe it was him.
Okay. Puts him in a spin cycle. And he was just one of two, because on that very same play, Roman Wilson puts Josh Proctor in a cycle too. Puts him on his butt.
Worked him over.
Jesus Christ, we was toasting them. You giving me memories going back to that game.
That corner post was a thing of beauty, bro. The way he worked him over. I mean, what can you say?
And this year, I will say, Roman looks like the number one, but Cornelius looks like a more consistent possession receiver than even he was last year.
They definitely, both of them look like they're locked in, like 1 and 2, or maybe even Cornelius might look like a 1 this game just off of receptions. Like, it looks like they're interchangeable as just throw me the ball. You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you, out of the young wide receivers that, they was talking about early, so Carmelo English, Fred Moore, Samaj Morgan, which one of those guys are you most excited to see from this season?
Honestly, probably Tyler Morris.
Tyler Morris too. Yep.
Because he played with JJ. So when you have that kind of connection, that could be something great. But honestly, I want to see Darius Clemens, like, bro.
He's like the one missing piece. We got a blocking tight end. We got a receiving tight end. We got speedy wide receivers. We got possession wide receivers. We got a speedy running back. We got a power-esque running back, a physical running back, right? We got stable backs. We got 11 offensive linemen. The only thing we don't have is a jump ball wide receiver.
Yes. And I don't know how he's not the inconsistency. All I hear is he's inconsistent. That ain't enough.
And he's also been hurt. He was dinged up. I don't think he played. He played all
limp off the field. He caught a pass and limped off the field
on the first game.
1.
Yep, week 1. I seen that. Yep. First of all, got to be healthy. We know he has the explosiveness. Like, we seen that in last year's spring game. I think another thing that could be holding him back from getting on the field consistently, wide receivers don't play unless they block. And if Darius Clemens ain't found out a way to get his hands inside and drive a guy off the ball, can you really have him out there?
He's freaking huge.
I don't see how either. He's the biggest wide receiver we got. I'm pretty sure, other than Amarion Walker, who's playing DB now.
Andrell on the field he was a good blocker,
and that was Andrell's homeboy. Andrell was bringing DC along before he transferred, obviously. So hopefully he can pick some of that up. But we got a long season, man. And one thing I do know is that everybody's not going to make it through this completely healthy. So there's going to be opportunities for other guys that we're wondering where they at now. Where's Ladarius Henderson? Where's DC? Where's Alex Orji? They're going to have their opportunities. Some of the absences have just been a little bit more alarming than others.
Mm-hmm. We need that defense. We need to see that starting defense together. It worries me when we don't see these dudes. Just because Harbaugh's he's working through something type of guy, and then Nakai Hill-Green last year, he's working through something.
And be gone all season.
The whole year. He should be back week 2. He's still working through something. You never TCU, he's still working through something.
Yeah. So we've already seen Makari Page. We've seen Darius Clemens. We've seen Zeke Berry.
I need to see Rob.
We've seen Will Johnson. We have not seen Rob Moore. I'm worried about Rob Moore because we have not seen him at all. I don't even think we've seen him dress. I ain't seen a number 9 out there in pads.
He's 9 now?
Yeah, he's number 9 on defense now.
So that wasn't him. I think I saw 19.
Yeah, no, somebody else probably wearing that now because he changed the 9 on defense. I haven't seen him at all in pads.
That's who I need to see
Yeah.
because he's a difference maker.
Mm-hmm.
He's the field. He's the general of the defense. I would say Junior Colson, but I think Rod Moore he's just on another
Well,
level to me.
he seems like the guy who gets everybody in place. He gets them
Exactly.
in the positions where they need to be on top of doing his job. So
And
I
you
would
don't
agree
see
with
him
you.
make
Rob Moore's a leader.
mistakes.
Yeah.
All you see him doing is if he shoots off your screen, it's not for he missed the tackle. It's he just got a big time pick or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
He just had a big time pass breakup.
Mm-hmm.
He just had a clutch tackle that was about to go for 6.
Oh yeah, no, you're not calling Rob Moore's name for missed tackles or giving up touchdowns. That's for sure. Not usually.
Exactly. I need to see him out there.
Roman looks good, real good. Him and JJ have great chemistry. Is he actually better than Marvin Harrison Jr.? He playing better.
That's all that matters.
He playing better. Check the stat sheet, baby.
I just need him to keep it going. I want him to keep the pressure on him. Who the best receiver in the Big Ten?
Stay healthy. That's always the name of the game for Roman, man. Stay healthy. Week 4, the last 2 years, my boy has gotten hurt.
Yeah, so he started off fast last year.
Huh?
He started off fast last year too.
Kind of the same way, right? A lot of big plays, touchdowns early, and then gets hurt, and he's gone for a couple of weeks, and then slows down after he comes back. This one right 26 here. On punt return. Where's Iman Dennis or the other guy? 26 is Thal. He's I think he's a junior defensive back. I can say this with 100% certainty, and I've never been to a Michigan practice or talked to one of the coaches. Thal's back there because he's the only one that can catch the ball.
Bro, I can't.
He's the only one back there that can catch the ball. It gotta be that, Johnny, because he's not that fast. He's not ultra athletic. He don't even play offense. He's a DB.
Bro, when he had that good return yesterday and the way he was wobbling and trying to get his feet under him, we play a good team. He gonna get his head knocked in back there.
I think
that's why he wasn't back there no more.
That's a hardball thing. He would rather have a guy that can just catch it and advance it than a guy who's going to drop the ball in plus territory. And so if they're dropping the ball at practice, you best believe in front of 110,000 when the lights at their brightest and you got to play somebody, they're going to drop it again. But he's giving guys opportunities, though. They're still getting guys in there. He wasn't the only one that took it. I seen English.
Last week.
Morgan took one. Shamaj Morgan took one.
And they had Tyler Morris. After
Morris, yep.
After he had that run where I was like, he going to get his head knocked off sooner or later. He wasn't out there no more. Because I know they saw it too. Like, this dude is running.
He gonna get hurt.
You can't be on no punt return, bro. Like you running in sand and trying to get your boy.
But that's what was so confusing to me about the Alex Orji thing. Because it's like, okay, Alex Orji is reasonably fast, I guess, for his size. And he's athletic. He can run guys over. Is he supposed to truck all 11 guys? Like, the one thing I didn't see out of Alex Orji is shiftiness.
I'm ready to see him get out there and hit somebody. I'm tired of this. I'm ready to see Orji get out there and hit somebody, bro.
Well, I think they're going to have to move him off a quarterback. And the reason why he's probably still there is because he probably still wants to play quarterback.
Because he could, and I'm going to keep it real. Have you seen some of the quarterbacks in college right now? He could go start for a bunch of programs. A lot of these dudes are athletic. Just athletic dudes, they can't throw worth nothing. It's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Alabama got one that can barely throw.
Yeah, he played a little Milrow. He played a little bit better than I thought he was, but that ain't gonna get it done. That's not gonna get it done.
I told my boy yesterday, I'm like, bro, who's like, who you got? I'm like, Texas. Like, Texas? I'm like, bro, Alabama's quarterback, he's a freak of nature, but he's not a consistent passer. And they barely beat him last year with a consistent passer.
With Bryce Young.
Yeah. So, and Kareem Ewers was hurt. So I'm like, bro, I got Texas. And it played out exactly that way.
I didn't pick Texas to win, but I grant every bit of that argument that you said. They were close enough last year without Quentin Ewers right? And they had Bryce Young. And if it wasn't for that late third down that they gave up, right, to get Alabama in position to kick that field goal, like they had them dead to rights. Dude missed the tackle on the sack.
Yeah,
And that was the game. So I mean, it really came down to a nail biter even last year. So you add on top of that the changeover at quarterback, Quentin Ewers being healthy. The one thing that surprised about me is that they went into Tuscaloosa and did it.
yeah.
That's big. That's big. So shout out to Sark for having his guys ready, because I thought that was going to be enough to get them over the hump. I didn't know how it would look necessarily. And Alabama's defense still looks like an Alabama defense. They just need a little bit more from the quarterback position.
That doggone Quinn Ewers throwing them balls to the moon. Oh my God. That's the only
who he throwing them to? Who he throwing them
Worthy.
to? Xavier Worthy, man. I don't know if my boy grades wasn't together or what happened that he couldn't come here, but man, every time I see him hooping for Texas, I get mad.
They always say it's about admissions and these credits and
the credits and stuff. I'm like, yeah, but he's a high school student though. If you're gonna accept him into the school, then just accept him.
What I was gonna say, Quinn Ewers. That's the one throw JJ doesn't. I think he has. He just doesn't use it. He doesn't have that throw it to the moon and you run under it. Like some of those moon shots, dude, was. I think the first one, that thing hung up there so long, bro, and it just came down so sweet. It was like, bro, this dude
look nice.
Like,
now the only thing with Texas is, okay, so now y'all took care of Alabama. Y'all did what everybody thought y'all wasn't gonna do. What y'all gonna do against Oklahoma? What are you gonna do against Kansas? What are you gonna do against Kansas State? Right, you got to clear out the state of Kansas this year to win the Big 12 in your last year. So don't let this be just a blip on Sark's resume. Don't let this just be a good win early on in the season, and then come to find out at the end of the season, Alabama was really the better team, right? Make it count. You went into Tuscaloosa and beat Alabama. Don't be LSU of last year. Make that count. You got to make that count.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they definitely do. It's just gonna be, are they ready for that? What comes with it? Because it's like when Michigan has their big game, that big game, Ohio State, it's at the end of the year. So
right.
Jobs finished for the most part. We got Big Ten, and then and even that caught up with us in the playoff.
Yeah, see, they got a lot of season to play. And this probably, most likely, unless they go to the playoff, this will most likely be their biggest win of the season.
Yeah, definitely. I don't see who they got. Oklahoma and the states.
Kansas State and Kansas.
I was surprised to see Kansas. I thought Kansas was put up 60 on Illinois the other day. I turned it on.
Man, I felt so bad for Illinois and Johnny and Newton and all them on the defensive line, because they was getting there too. They was tearing that offensive line up. Jaden Daniels looks like Russell Wilson combined with Lamar Jackson.
I was like, what is this?
Making good decisions, timely passes. He dipping out of doing circus stuff. I'm like, yo, man, he's a problem. He's an issue.
That was crazy to me. But I will say this: Kansas was looking clean in those jerseys. That black
jerseys.
They having a funeral out here.
It was doing their thing for sure.
But
what other games did you watch this weekend?
What's that?
I said, what other games did you watch this weekend?
Man, I didn't. I really just watched our game, that Texas game, and that's pretty much it, honestly.
Did you get a chance to see Charlotte and Maryland? You see Charlotte giving Maryland all they can handle, and Coach Biff down there?
No, but I was laughing at NBC trying to hype it up during our game, trying to hype it up. I was like, what is this?
Well, I mean, after we went off, I switched over there because Biff Poggi went down to Charlotte to be their head coach, our assistant, or old assistant head coach.
Oh yeah, he took Nakai Hill Green and some other dudes.
Yeah, he took Nakai Hill Green, he took Iabioki, and he took Julius Welshoff. So their defense was actually looking okay. It wasn't looking that bad. Walker is hurt, I believe. Marion Walker.
Yeah, Marion Walker is hurt. And
And
I
they
was
were talking about he might have gotten some burn at corner too before he got hurt. So maybe
really?
he was coming along, maybe coming into that starting role before he got hurt. We can hope so.
And I think it's easier to hide during the game sometimes. Not to say that he's not talented, but sometimes it's easier to hide in the game because whether you got a pass rush, there's so much other things. You just out there at corner, or you sometimes you just backpedaling, doing your job. Or he ain't look over here.
Honestly, if you playing corner, you playing that far away from the ball, and don't nobody call your name or say your name, you probably having a good game.
Exactly. So it's different this the spring game. So like the spring game, them dudes knew. All right, let's go on and go at him. He knew.
You said they treated him like food.
Peyton O'Leary was out there eating. Like, oh, okay.
No Peyton O'Leary, like at all. I haven't seen him anywhere, special teams or nothing.
I think he's hurt too. We're like super dinged up. No Cole Cabana.
Yeah, Cole Cabana. Haven't seen. Man, I'm anxious. That's who should be returning kicks.
And that's who he was trying to win that job too. Mm-hmm. I want to see him. So it's a bunch of dudes that's just dinged up. Like we're real dinged up right now.
For sure.
And I think it's gonna be a just we're gonna be playing, winning these games and just fighting to stay healthy and keep our main guys healthy until we get to the big time games that we really need them.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, everything about in these early games is that, right? Preparing for stuff that we're going to need at the end of the season, whether that's preparing depth, whether that is working starters into form like Blake and Donovan, whether that's solidifying chemistry with the wideouts like we're doing right now. All of that stuff is what we're going to need towards the end of this run, man. Drill it now. Work on your weaknesses now where we didn't do that in years past.
Yeah, because, and that's what I was saying, I think when you came on, I'm just happy to see. I think that TCU loss and how we lost it was a blessing in disguise. I mean, honestly. Yeah. That's how, I mean, just to be real, that's how I got to look at it at this point. Because that was the best thing that could have happened to him was we lose because of you. You could literally say, JJ, you're not good enough. We lost because you're not good enough.
You need to get better. And he did.
Exactly.
And he did.
When I was watching Sam Webb and he was talking about Roman goes into the film room and he goes in there, he says, he goes in there and JJ's already in there. And JJ's got plates stacked up. And Roman's like,
how long you been here, bro?
Bro, I watched that clip about 4 times. How long you got plates stacked up?
Man, you just living here, huh? But it shows though. It shows like he's finishing throws in a dominant position, back toe pointed towards the target. Like he looks like a NFL quarterback. I will say it now. I was trying to stay away from it in the offseason because, you don't get on the hype train in the offseason unless you're a normie, right? Hey, we done seen it now. We done seen a very polished quarterback, somebody who seems like they've been putting in a lot of work. He looks bigger. He done changed his apparel up now. He got the visor on. Like he looks like a dude. He looks like a dude. He's playing like one.
Yeah, and the thing and he was talking about I don't know which play it was where I think it was the touchdown to Roman where the 47-yarder. He said, he was rolling left and he said CJ back across the field, he saw him, but he was like, I could have made that throw or tried it, but I'm done with that. Those days are over. That's what he said. It was
Like
like,
the throw
okay,
he made against Western Michigan 2 years ago, right? Where he came back across his body.
exactly.
Yeah, no, that's done. Don't do that ever again.
Yeah,
Don't do that ever again.
and that's honestly what you have to do if you want to gain Harbaugh's full trust. You can't be making bonehead plays, and
And that's
even
what he had to realize, right? He had to
mhm,
realize, like, all right, the stuff that's happening every 5 or 10 plays or so, drop a snap, throw a pick, it ain't that bad, because I'm me, I'm JJ. I can overcome that with my talents. And like you said, the TCU game forced him to realize that's not the case. That mistakes like that, even if it's only a few, will cost you a game in the long run.
mhm,
So be perfect or as close to perfect as you can be. And that's where I feel like he's at right now. Like you said, he's passing up some of those deeper shots for a check down, for a dig coming across the middle, stuff like that, safer throws, so we can move the sticks and keep playing.
exactly. And it's honestly it's crazy to see the maturation of him, because when he's stepping up in that pocket, it's like only good things are happening, and it's not rushed. He's
No.
stepping up,
Mm-mm.
and he's not he's not flustered. It's like a
And he's,
calm, like
you know what else he's not doing? He's not going backwards. A lot of times when he would break contain or break the pocket the last 2 years, it was very, very like Ben Roethlisbergery. It was like twist around 3 or 4 times and then try to spin out and throw the ball all the way down. Like,
Johnny Manziel.
yeah, Johnny Man, that's what I'm looking for. Johnny Manziel. Like, nah, man, we don't need that. Our offense is too structured for that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't break the rhythm like to that degree and expect it to go well. Them offensive linemen ain't expecting you to do that. They just got done blocking for Kate McNamara last year. You think they expect you to be back here doing spins and shit? Like, nah, man. Either drop
Calm
back,
down.
step up, and then begin to attack the line of scrimmage, or come out deep and around to get out of it. But that thing of like dropping back, okay, I'm gonna spin this way, spin back this way. Ooh, try to jerk out the defensive tackle. Like, nah, man, you gonna get hurt doing that.
And I think he's seeing that it don't take all that.
No,
The offensive line is creating a lane for you to step up, step up or step through, and look downfield, or either take what
Gordon
they
says that a lot. Get in the fight. Get in there.
Yeah.
Help your offensive linemen. Help them out, because as they're washing guys out, they don't have a lot of control as to where they're going. You have to be the guy to navigate in between that traffic.
Exactly. And he's doing it. It's just, even when last week's game, he made a play, and I was like, yeah, the game done slowed down. It was when he did that little flick to Blake.
Yeah.
It was just so calm and perfect. It was just like, I mean, he only got like 4 yards or 3, but it was just the wherewithal to.
You want to know who made a play just like that? Okay, 2021, Wisconsin. We're backed up in the shadow of our own end zone, right? They go spread 4 wide, Blake Corum in the backfield. Everybody's covered at the snap. They got a check down to Blake Corum. Here go Kate McNamara. He got pressure right off the edge. He runs forward, steps up, does a nice little pitch to Blake, right? And those were one of those plays where people were justifying, okay, that's why he's starting over JJ now. Now you fast forward 2 years, JJ's making the exact same play.
Exactly.
Making the exact same play.
You don't have to be Superman. There might come a time when we need you to be that, but not against no ECU and these teams. You just get it to the playmakers. Let them do their job.
Yeah, and that was kind of my commentary. People were talking about, they haven't really ran him all like that. He had like 2 runs this game, but in the ECU game, they didn't run him at all. And it's like, you don't have to. You don't have to, and you don't want to. Right? If you don't need to exploit that right now, then don't pull it out. Don't even put him at risk. There's no need.
No, there's definitely not. He got hit in the thigh yesterday, and he called timeout. It was his thighs are little. I mean,
my dad recognized that. I was like, it didn't look like he got hit in the head. He said, "Nah, hit him in the hip, hit him in his pad." I was like, well, dang, how hard to hit him?
Those things, those hurt.
Bro, they don't. Now we talking about some real shit. Now they don't even really be wearing pads on, not like compared to
Nah,
probably what me and you wore. Like the
nah.
pads in our pants used to be about that thick.
Yeah, yeah.
They built into the underwear now. They not even really putting pads into the pants
Mm-mm.
no more.
And it was
It's
like that
crazy.
when I started playing again, and I started playing like semi-pro, and then it was kind of you were kind of on your own with pads, and that's how everybody was like. You ain't had barely had no pads. You had the little maybe a couple thigh ones, and they tiny, so it's easy to miss that. But you
Mm-hmm.
just kind of out there with your shoulder pads, and that's it.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
So you get hit in the thigh, it hurt.
It hurt.
Your whole left side that went numb.
Hurting.
Woo. So I don't know. You got any more? You got anything else?
Uh, it was a solid week of college football, man. Michigan wise, continue to well, number one, with Moore and Harbaugh coming back, I do expect them not to totally go back to the belligerent type of running game. They are going to work it a little bit more. I'm interested to see how the fans are going to react to that with Harbaugh coming back. I can hear it now. Like, oh boy, here come Harbaugh coming back. They running the ball 35 times a game now again. But if that's your only issue, that's your only thing to fix, take the opportunity against Bowling Green. Take the opportunity against Rutgers and fix it. Get it done. Do it. That way, by the time we get to Penn State, we get to Maryland at the end of the season, we get to Ohio State at the end of the season, we don't have to worry about whether or not the offensive line is going to come to play that game, whether or not Blake and Donovan are going to be in rhythm running the ball. Let's get that established. Now that we know that the passing game has taken a step up, let's be cognizant of whatever our other weaknesses are now, the way we weren't last year.
Definitely. We definitely have to. You have to get that run game going, just because. Now, if you were to commit to, all right, I think this is a passing team, but we got Harbaugh. He's not going to commit to that, even if that is truly what it is.
If they stay 50-50, right? Because when he said 50-50 earlier in the offseason, I think everybody was thinking, maybe 55-45. Mm-hmm. It's been pretty close to 50-50 so far.
Yeah.
If he stays diligent about that, I don't think either one of them really have to suffer. Because I think they ran the ball. How many times did they run the ball this game?
Not that many times, probably 30 times, if that.
About 30. Okay, I mean that's about all you need.
I mean, yeah, you're right. We only had 2 possessions in the first quarter.
Like the clock rules is speeding everything up and it's making it very weird. But if you get Blake 12-15, you get Donovan 12-15 touches because you know you're gonna throw the ball to him too. It's about all you need. Then another maybe 5-10, depending on the opponent from JJ.
Mm-hmm.
That you really shouldn't need any more than that, right? If we haven't gotten the running production after that many carries, after 35 carries, it's probably a wash. We're probably getting stopped.
Yeah, and you know something I'm noticing with this new clock, if you have a long drive and you don't get no points,
it's
you better hope that game ain't close.
It's a waste because you've taken all that time off the clock and you only got so many possessions. I think on average we're missing about, what did they say, about 7 to 9 plays a game. And I mean that's possessions. You know,
we only had what did we have? 4 in the first half. This game.
We only had It's
they
about
weren't moving.
Quarter, about 2 possessions.
Moving the ball really like that.
And that's you getting 3 and outs too. Like you can't let them drive the ball up the field, get a couple first downs, and then punt because you're gonna be scoring in the next quarter.
It's gonna be fascinating to see how some of these, like if it's a real 2 teams grinding it out, how many possessions you're gonna get, and how it plays out. Because just imagine if you got a Michigan team and whoever else. Let's just say it was Ohio State, whatever. Mm-hmm. And we're both consistently moving the ball, long drives. Just imagine that. Like, what is the score going to be? Because they're not scoring fast. They're long drives. 10 minutes, 11 minutes. What you going to have? 5 possessions the whole game?
Yeah, I mean, if we ran the ball like we did last year with these rules, it would be a bunch of 24 nothings, 28 nothings. A lot like what we're kind of looking at now. In that 28 to 35 range, that 45, 50, 60, you'd have to be scoring 3 times a quarter to get up there.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to now, and you got to do it efficiently too. You got to score, and you got to get the ball quickly back again so you can score again.
Or you're gonna need like a special teams, a pick six, something like that.
The USC game last night, right? They were playing Stanford. Stanford couldn't keep the ball. Stanford couldn't stay on the field.
USC looked like they was mad last night. The boys was playing hard.
Well, I think somebody finally woke up Alex Grinch out of his stupor and was like, "Hey, stupid! I don't think nobody think you can coach. I think you should wake up and do something." You know what I mean? He been acting like that for like 2-3 years.
The boys was running hard. I was like, man, USC looking scary today.
But man, before I get out of here, we got to talk about the good news. We got to talk about little brother losing the cigar smoker himself. Oh my God. I didn't think that it was going to happen this fast, man.
That, you can't be in the public eye with something like this. They got to get you away from the program, get away from here right now, today. You got to go today.
Johnny, listen to how stupid this is, man. The lady that he was allegedly harassing, she came in to talk to the team about sexual harassment and how to avoid it.
Yeah,
he hired this woman to talk to his team about sexual harassment. So now let's think about Mel Tucker. 50-year-old guy, 50-ish, 50, 60s, married, one of the highest paid state employee in all of Michigan. He makes more than Jim Harbaugh. So it's Mel Tucker, that's right? Crazy. $10 million a year. You think it's a good idea to approach her? You think it's a good idea to hit on her?
Your man's is thirsty.
Damn. Of all the women in Lansing, Michigan you could possibly try, her?
Hey, your boy thirsty. He's sweating on that sideline. That boy over there thirsty.
Man, I got like you that's worse than bad decision making. Boy, you must have wanted this to happen.
He might have did. He might have been like, this job I ain't never gonna get him. I thought Michigan was down.
He admitted to working himself out on the phone while he was talking to her. I'm like, oh, bro, yeah. He's
done. Even if they saying he's suspended, he's done. Mm-hmm. They're just figuring out how can we get rid of that contract.
But they're gonna pay him. They're gonna have to. Oh, they're gonna pay him unless he had something in his contract about getting fired for cause.
That's what I'm saying. So they might be trying to see.
Yeah, because these are some different circumstances for sure.
He's starving. That boy over there thirsty.
That would be like you at the let out of the club, right? The club just let out. You trying to find somebody to get a number, talk to a lady before you leave, spot, whatever, and you trying to go holler at the cop. And you go holler at the cop because ain't nothing else moving or shaking. So I'm gonna go holler at the police officer.
Smack her on the booty and everything.
Yeah, smack her on the butt, all kinds of stuff. Yep. Like He's wilding.
He seen the cop after the club. The boy said, "Wee."
I mean, just dumb. Like there's no other way to put it. Just stupid. And then if it's true, he's also a criminal.
Look. Now it makes sense why that boy was sweating on the sideline like that this whole time. Now it makes sense. That boy knew it was going to come out one day. He was over there.
You know what's funny, though? This complaint was launched in December of 2022. Now, it's been a lot of questions about why didn't we know about the Mozzie Smith gun charge before the playoff game or before the Big Ten championship? Why haven't we heard anything about Matt Weiss and his computer access crimes? Why did that just disappear? Hey, listen to me. If Michigan State can keep this quiet for going on a year, miss me with all of that. Valenti, Rico, any other Michigan State fan, miss me with all of that. Okay, cleaning up y'all's house.
He wild for that, bro. You you're the head coach at Michigan State. Like, this ain't a small school or nothing like.
And you calling her on the phone. You doing stuff to yourself while you on the phone with her. You asking her, what would he do to have to get a date with you if you weren't like? First of all, your marriage probably done now too.
He was married, so he is married.
He's married, yeah. It's terrible.
I say to you, my brothers, do not be thirsty after the poontang when you have a wife at home, my brothers. We cannot be that way.
You feel me? He making it bad for all the brothers. He making us look terrible.
You are one of the top coaches in the nation. And you over here playing telephone games like a high schooler.
Whose firing is worse, this or Pat Fitzgerald?
Oh my God, the dingaling car wash,
or Erkenjerk over the phone.
It ain't pretty bad. I mean, I guess I could give Pat some leniency because it technically isn't him.
Yeah. That's crazy if you had a worse firing than Pat Fitzgerald. If we started out this season and then told a coach that, you know what, you're going to get fired and it's going to be worse than what Pat Fitzgerald got fired for, I don't think anybody would believe him. It was a Zoom call. They had it.
The car wash is bad. I ain't go front. That's some nasty stuff right there.
Yeah, but again, I ain't do that.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
I didn't know
Mel Tucker was. Huh? What y'all say? Say that again. Repeat it. Okay.
I didn't know they was. He said, I didn't know they was out there. We got Mel Tucker, and here we got the. What's going on in the Big Ten, y'all? What's going on, man?
Apparently, we needed to do some house cleaning before USC and UCLA got here. We needed to clear house a little bit.
We wilded up in the Big Ten this year.
Ooh, I got one more question. I said that was the last one, but I got a question for you. Do you think any of our assistants take that job?
Who?
Any of our coaching assistants, do you think that they would take the Michigan State job? So Mentor, Moore, Jay Harbaugh, Mike Hart. I know Mike Hart absolutely would not. They would not hire him. But everybody else, maybe.
That's a good question, bro. Honestly, I don't know. Maybe Mentor might would. Or Moore. See, when you're not in the program like that, or when you didn't grow up in the program, it doesn't mean as much to you. It's just another job, kind of.
Yeah, Mentor. Moore, so I think if Moore doesn't take the Michigan head coaching job from Harbaugh, he'll be at Oklahoma at some point.
That's what I think his dream job is, honestly.
Yeah, he wants to go to Oklahoma, I believe.
Yeah, I don't I wouldn't be surprised me. Because sometimes these dudes, it's just about the money and trying to get their opportunity, you know. So, but that's all you got?
Yeah, man. That's it for me, man. I appreciate you bringing me on, man, for sure. I appreciate this.
No problem. And if I got some other stuff going on, I'll text you or call you about it. But I might be able to bring you along because I think with both of us, it just makes a better show. With these lives, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And it might be an opportunity for you to, both get some bread.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I appreciate everybody in the live chat that's looking at us, listening to us. Definitely appreciate the audience. I'm at Back of the Bus Podcast, but I also just launched another channel specifically for college football. Nothing but college football content on that one. It's called A House Divided. Run it with my partner Josh. He's an Ohio State fan. We go at it a lot about different topics pertaining to the rivalry, but also college football, the Big Ten, larger picture, all that stuff too as well. So check us out.
Yes, sir. I appreciate all the super chats. I appreciate everybody joining the live. Like, share, subscribe. And as always, go blue.
Go blue. Show.